Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Jennifer Huber, also known as Solo Travel Girl, and this is a Mounjaro video. Yay! I know it's been a while since I have posted one. I apologize. But I celebrated my 3-year Mounjaversary in June, and I know it's the end of July. I've been trying to get a video, so here it is. And what this video is, basically, it is a summary of my Mounjaro experience, specifically regarding what I think I did right and the results, and then what I think I could have improved upon, and a little bit of the future of Mounjaro in my world. So let's get started. I took notes. I have lots of notes here. So, because I am going to turn it into a blog post, I think, because I do have a lot of people reaching out to me, friends, and then people on the interwebs who were just prescribed Mounjaro, who have questions. They come to my videos. They don't want to watch 2 years worth of videos, so I'm hoping that this video will answer most everyone's questions. Alright, so let's get started. So as I mentioned, I was prescribed Mounjaro in June of 2022, and that time the medication had been on the market, I think about a month or so, maybe a little bit longer, like maybe 6 weeks. And my endocrinologist, she looked at my my history and my blood work, and she decided that I'd be a good candidate for it. And I had read about Mounjaro because at the time it was in the news because it was supposed to be this breakthrough medication. I shouldn't say supposed to be. I believe it is a breakthrough medication, especially after being on the medication for 3 years. And I forgot to give you my disclaimer before. See, this is how long it's been. I am not a healthcare professional, and I am just sharing my personal experience and opinion about using Mounjaro to manage my type 2 diabetes. Also, I have no affiliation with Mounjaro, with Lilly, or any other medication. I understand that my image has been used for some medications, but I have no affiliation. I did not give my approval to any company to use my image. Alright, let's get started. Yeah, so I was hoping that Mounjaro would lower my A1C. I did read that it did have significant weight loss attached to it, and that's why I started documenting my experience every week, because I really didn't think the weight loss that I was reading about, which is about 25-30 pounds, would really happen to me. Why me? How could it happen to me? So that's why I started these weekly videos, which I did for 2 years. I was 52 years old at the time. I'm 55 now. I guess I was, well, in menopause then, post-menopause. I don't know when you get out of it, but anyway, considered menopausal at the time I was prescribed the medication. At the time, my A1C was 8.2, and then during my last check, which was about, I think, 3 months ago, it was 6.1, which I'm in the pre-diabetic range. But here is the big asterisk. Last year, those of you who've been following know that I contracted Lyme disease, and then I was on steroid for a month, and I was on antibiotics for over a month, and then all sorts of supplements and all that. And that caused it's believed as to why my A1C spiked. But before I contracted Lyme disease, I had 2 blood draws, 3 months and 3 months, and my A1C was 5.4, which is considered normal. I have a blood draw coming up this week, and then I have my physical coming up the 2nd week in August, but I always go into my portal to see what my A1C, what my blood work is, so hopefully I'll know by the end of the week what my new A1C is. I'm trying not to get too excited, but hopefully it's going to be better. As for Lyme disease, I had my blood drawn in February or March of this year, and it came back that I have the antibodies for a past infection, so let's hope that, although I have other issues going on which I believe are related to Lyme disease. The disease that keeps on giving. Anyway, back to type 2 diabetes and Mounjaro. Oh, I lost more than 50 pounds on Mounjaro. Before contracting Lyme disease, I lost about 60 pounds. Now, because I gained about 10 pounds back, I lost more than 50 pounds. I'm at 144 pounds. I started off at 197, so about 50 pounds lost on Mounjaro, which I can't believe that. I really cannot believe that. Yeah, before contracting Lyme disease and getting on steroids, the antibiotics and supplements, I was down to 135 at my lowest, which really I think that was kind of low for me, but I know that's a normal range. I'm 5'4". I had high blood pressure, and after being on Mounjaro, well, I'm still on Mounjaro, but after being on it for a few months, it lowered my blood pressure, so I no longer take blood pressure medication because I have normal blood pressure, which I think is very amazing, just reducing the number of medications I'm on. And speaking of medications, I still take metformin. I take 1,000 doses twice, 1,000 milligrams twice a day. I was on another diabetic medication, Glimepiride, and I'm not on that medication since I've been on Mounjaro. I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and that has since been reversed, which is very exciting. I really didn't understand what non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I'm not going to go into it, but it was more serious than I thought. I thought everyone who was overweight had it, and that's not necessarily the case. And it's just bad. It's very bad for you. You could search Google about that. But anyway, being on Mounjaro has reversed my non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I have high cholesterol. I say have because I'm still on a low dose statin, but my cholesterol has come down. My cholesterol is normal, so I don't know if it's because I have lost weight and improved my health, or if it's because of the statin. It's probably a combination, but my cholesterol, and I'll link to a video that I did about my cholesterol, so you can see some of the numbers, what they look like about a year or 2 years ago or so. Dress sizes, I went from size like 16, 18 to an extra large or extra large, and tops and pants and dresses and skirts, to now between the size 8 and 10 or size medium or large, just depending on the designer. And I know I'm going to say it again, but that's still wild to me. Doses of Mounjaro. So those of you who don't know, the highest dosage of Mounjaro is 15 milligrams, and I've been at 7.5 milligrams for over a year. I actually kept track of it for a while, so I'm going to be reading my notes here. And the reason why I've been on 7.5 for over a year is because I did get up to 10 milligrams for 6 months. However, because of the supply issues, I was bumped down to 5 milligrams during week 41. So I went from 10 down to 5 milligrams. So week 41 of my Mounjaro journey, I went down to 5 milligrams, and that was on April 9th, 2023. And I was on that medication, that dose, just for a month. And then I went back up to 10 milligrams for a month, and then I went back down to 5 milligrams for a month. And when I talk about a month, that's basically 4 pens, 1 pen every week, so it's only 28 days. And then I went back to 10 milligrams for 2 months, and then week 61 of my journey, which was August 27th, 2023, I went to 7.5 milligrams, and that's where I've been ever since. So that's pretty crazy, and I'm glad I kept track of that. So 10 until April 9th, and then I went to 5 for a month, back to 10, 5 to 10, and then to 7.5. Crazy. And I also want to clarify and emphasize, I guess, specifically that I am still on Mounjaro. And in my mind, this is a forever medication, whether it's always going to be an injection. I did see that Eli Lilly released some research recently that they had, let's see, phase 3 results in development of a daily GLP-1 pill. So there's going to be the option to take a pill every day or an injection once a week. So we shall see. Of course, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, and I know things change, life changes. We are in a world of change right now. I am feeling it. Anyway, let's get into side effects, and these are in no particular order, but the side effects that I experience with Mounjaro, and I want to emphasize that these are my experiences. Other patients have had different experiences. I think my side effects have been mild compared to what I read in the news or talk to the other people. I mean, some people have ended up in the hospital and end up with pancreatitis. Yeah. There's some words I can't say. I don't know why. I read a lot, but when you read, you don't hear how things are pronounced. Anyway, things with the pancreas, people have had issues, but I am just going to talk about the side effects that I have experienced. So number one, obviously, was weight loss. After 4 months on Mounjaro, I had lost more than 40 pounds. That's a lot in a short period of time, but to me, that was a beneficial and that was a good side effect. Did I think it could happen? No. But I was trusting the process, and I did. Nauseousness, that was a big side effect, and I still deal with nauseousness. Saturdays are my injection days, and great. Sunday, about 36 hours later, which should be any time now, I feel nauseous. And that'll roll through Sunday night, through Monday morning. I just know the deal with it, and I just take like Tums tablets at this point to help cool my stomach down. Lack of hunger, and I don't know if necessarily this is a good thing. I think that obviously contributed to weight loss because for me, Mounjaro really dulled my taste buds. It dulled my hunger. There were days early on that I could go all day without eating, which I know is bad really, because I'm not getting nutrients into my body as well. And again, I think that contributed to rapid weight loss. But food tastes different to me being on Mounjaro. I don't have certain cravings. Now I do have other cravings for food. Alcohol is not appealing to me, but I'm going to post a link right here about a video that I did about how Mounjaro has impacted my relationship with food. Let's see, constipation. Let's go down to the other way. Sorry for being crass. But early on, it was like a month or two into it, I recall having horrible, horrible constipation. Like, it was horrible. I felt like there were like pointy rocks in my body trying to escape, and it was just horrible. It did resolve itself, but I took Colace, I drank more water, and it was just bad. Yeah. Another side effect was lower back pain, fatigue, and chills. And I think that had a lot to do either with the rapid weight loss, especially the lower back pain and the fatigue, and perhaps the fatigue and chills were caused by the medication. I don't know, but like about 48 hours later, I get a little bit chilly and a little bit cold. I live in Florida. I complain about the heat outside. And right now, it feels like I'm living in Death Valley, which I did for a year and a half, including 2 summers. It is so hot out, and I had to go to the store out on the pavement. It was just hot. Anyway, the chills with Mounjaro, those were real for me. That was a real side effect. Body dysphoria. I still cannot believe that this is the body I'm in. I'm more accepting of it, but once I lost about 20 pounds, there were days I'd catch my reflection in a mirror or a window or something, and I'm like, who is that? And it took me a while to accept that this is the way that I look. I still think that I am heavier than I actually am. Like, I feel heavier. I just get back from 2 weeks vacation, and I'm taking photos and stuff, and while I'm taking photos, like setting up the timer or tripod or whatever, And when I look at the actual image, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I look that way. So that is something that needs improvement, so to say. And it did take a while to go to the right size on the clothing rack. For a few months, I was still heading straight to the extra larges or the size 16s when I really should have gone to the size larges or mediums or the size 10s or so, or 8. So what do I feel that I did right with Mounjaro? Moving more. Definitely walking my dog twice a day. If you don't have a dog, I highly recommend getting a dog. They're a great motivation to get out of bed. There were days that I didn't want to get out of bed, even before taking Mounjaro. When I had a broken ankle, I had to get up every day to walk him. I had a little knee or a scooter that I walked him around, and just a great way to get out of bed is having a dog and taking care of them. But I walk my dog at least twice a day through the neighborhood, so I was moving, not exerting a lot, but I was moving. But then I incorporated more yoga, Pilates, or Pyo into my routine. Pyo is a cross between Pilates and yoga, and I just love Pyo, and I can't wait to get back to doing that. Lyme disease really put a big pause in my life, and I'm getting over that hurdle. Anyway, but combo of yoga and Pilates, I think that really was good for my body, especially making me more limber and flexible in my flexibility. Also, I take care of my own lawn, so that's some more physical exercise as well. I cleaned up my eating. I've kind of slipped a little bit, but early on I cleaned up my eating and I made better food choices. As I mentioned before, I've noticed that food tastes a little bit different. Specifically processed food, fast food doesn't taste as appealing as it used to, but less processed food, no processed food, natural foods, fruits and veggies, they just taste so vibrant and so good. I enjoy really flavorful items as well. Flavorful, where did that come from? Anyway, I did reduce my diet soda intake, which I think made a difference, because who knows what the stuff in there does to you. I mean, I guess it can reduce rust, right? So it's probably something you shouldn't be drinking. Made sure my breakfasts were nutritious, and I still try to eat a nutritious breakfast. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I harvested 2 pineapples that I grew, and I'm putting them in, or putting some into a smoothie this week. So I'm excited about that. I had protein shakes, oatmeal, low-fat Greek yogurt. I made my own yogurt. I had a little honey and fruit in there as well. I kept in touch with my healthcare provider. I think that's another thing that I did pretty well with my Mounjaro journey. The doctor and the nurse practitioner, they were easy to keep in touch with, let them know how I was feeling, tell them that I wanted to go up to the next dose and all that. So keeping in touch with them, I think that was really important, keeping that communication open. Also, I didn't compare myself to others, and this day and age, social media, it is so hard not to do that. But I know there's people on YouTube, I'm not on TikTok, on Instagram, elsewhere, who, I mean, that's their whole brand is Mounjaro or mounjarojourney or GLP-1s or the like and something like that. And I did follow some, and I learned from them, and it was nice being motivated and encouraged from them as well. But I did my best not to compare my journey, because I could see where it's easy to get stuck into, well, I've been on this medication for X number of months and I haven't lost this, or my A1C hasn't gotten this low, and blah blah blah. So I just stayed the path, focused on myself and what's important to me. What I wish I did differently, well, although I cleaned up my eating, I really wish that I focused more on Mediterranean or Blue Zones diet, and focusing on proteins, fruits and veggies, and limiting my carbs. I wish that I met with a nutritionist that I met with several years ago, and I think touching base with her, and I think that would have been beneficial, because when you think about it, those of you who started Mounjaro around the same time I did, or maybe a little bit earlier, I kind of feel that we were just left on our own to go out into the woods and just blaze our own trail and figure out how to handle this medication. I mean, yes, it's not a special diet. Like if we eat something, we're not going to die from it unless it's something you shouldn't be eating. But I just think that perhaps meeting with a nutritionist and having a nutritional plan, a map, I think that really would have helped out a lot. And it's not too late for me to meet with a nutritionist. I've actually been checking on my nutritionist that I worked with before to make sure she's still in business. She is. So I am looking at that as well. I do wish that I forced myself to drink more water. I think that would have alleviated a lot of issues, especially those constipation issues early on. I wish I added more strength training. I really underestimated the importance of strength training with this whole plan because I was eating less, I was moving more, I was losing more weight pretty fast, and I really wish that I just incorporated strength training because I think that would help with muscle retention. I think the reason why I had the back pain is because I think I was losing muscle mass, and if I did more strength training, which helps burn fat as well, I just think I'd be in a better place than I am now. And again, it's not too late for that. I have some dumbbells in my living room, and I just need to pick them up and just do it. I do wish that I stayed at the 5 milligram dose longer than 1 month, or I wish I stayed at it 1 or 2 months, I should say. I was only on it for 1 month, and I was just so eager to get to the next level. I'm like, yes, take me to 7.5 after 1 month, and I just don't think my body was ready for it. So I wish I would have stayed at that dose a little bit longer to let my body adjust, and perhaps that would have helped more with the nauseousness that I experienced. I wish I met with a mental health practitioner, and I know it's not too late. I could still do that. I just think that would help me with the body, just what I feel about my body and myself. You know, once I lost at the 40-pound mark, I just felt more visible in the world, which seems odd to say. Today at the laundromat, a guy gave me his card, asked me out on a date. Am I going to call him? I'm not sure. He's also a handyman, so that would be useful. But I'm just not used to that happening. Would that happen my other self? Maybe, perhaps. But it's just very weird for me. Even though I'm on YouTube and that, I consider myself an introvert, a little bit ambivert, but more of an introvert and a little bit shy, so to say. So being more visible and having a little bit more attention is a little weird for me. And you'd think at 55 years old I'd be over certain things like that, but I'm not. So again, it's not too late to be meeting with a healthcare professional. If you've been following along since the beginning, you know after Hurricane Ian, I did have to talk to a psychologist. Yeah, I had to meet with mental health care professional, and that was the deal with PTSD from Hurricane Ian, and not necessarily about my food and my body, what I feel about myself and that. Perhaps it's all tied together. I mean, I know it's all tied together, self-confidence and codependency and all that. But anyway, I wish I met with a mental health provider, and I know I can, it's not too late to do that. I wish, this is something, I mean, I don't want to say small, but I wish I did measurements of my waist and my arms and my thighs, just so I knew how many inches I had lost. That is just something personal. And then I could have shared that with you all, but I wish I did that. And this is something goofy, but I have a solution. I have been a diabetic for over 10 years, and I don't take my blood, I haven't taken a glucose measurement in a long time, but I used to take it a lot. I still have all those sharps, and I have all of my Mounjaro pens. I haven't, with the exception of 1 month, I have not disposed of them. and I wasn't sure what to do with them, but I learned from my health department that our local fire department will take them. I don't know if that's the same with every Florida community, but check with your health department to see what you should do with your sharks. Again, my doctor said that I can throw them away because the needle recesses, but I'm not doing that. I am going to properly dispose of them. I have them in a bag, and I will be taking them soon. I will post a video. Now, am I happy that I was prescribed Mounjaro? Heck yes. Yeah, I mean, there were some struggles, and yeah, it cost me a little bit more in a new wardrobe over time, and there were the uncomfortable moments. There were times that, yes, I did get sick, which I didn't mention, but there were a couple of times where I did vomit just because I ate too many carbs in a short period of time, made myself sick. I basically overate. But overall, yes, I am happy. Am I concerned that something bad is going to happen to my body down the road from it? No, not at this point. I am confident in science, and I am confident that I'm going to be okay taking this medication and continuing to take this medication. I do feel a bit selfish as to how it has physically changed me, because I was in it for lowering my A1C. I wasn't in it for the weight loss. I wasn't in it to make me feel better about myself or to look prettier or things like that. I was in it for the A1C, just to be a healthier person. And in a way, I feel guilty or selfish that I have lost this weight. And you know, some people think that it's cheating, but I realized at first I thought Mounjaro is a silver bullet medication, that I couldn't have done this on my own, but it's just a tool. A lot of it was me. As I've mentioned before, it's kind of like Dorothy realizing that when she clicked her heel, she had the power to go home. It's a reference to the Wizard of Oz. But Mounjaro, along with moving more and changing what I was eating and my mental mindset, that's how I was able to achieve what I have achieved. So is it still a silver bullet? A little bit, but there's some other aspects with that as well. I'm finishing up. One more page. So what's next for me? Well, I have 9 more pens left, and then 1 more 3-month prescription to be filled, and then I'm hoping my prescription will be refilled. I meet with my doctor in September, I believe, the one who prescribes me Mounjaro. I hope we're going to continue on this journey. I hope my health insurance agrees. I know there's a lot of weird stuff happening in the healthcare world. There's a lot of weird stuff happening in the world as a whole. I don't know how much costs are going to change. The last time I picked up my prescription, it was $170.52. That was my copay. Is it going to go up? I don't know. Is it going to go down? Am I going to go back to having a $25 copay? I don't know. We'll see. And that reference, if you don't know, that Eli Lilly, the Mounjaro website, you can get a savings card to pay as little as $25. It's not a guaranteed $25. You do need to be on health insurance to do that. I do know that I need to get back to my regular exercising, and I just need to do it. Actually, maybe once I edit this video, get it uploaded, I will do it before heading to bed. So that, my friends, this is how I am marking my 3-year Mounjaversary. I thank you all for coming along on this journey with me. If you've been on Mounjaro, I hope you're still having success. If you're just starting out, I know, just stay the course, do what's best for you, and listen to your healthcare professional, but make sure you're moving more and you're cleaning up your eating. Stay in touch with your healthcare professional, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Don't compare yourself to me, because my journey is going to be different than yours, and yours is going to be different from someone else's. And with that, remember, not only be kind to others this week, but please be kind to yourself. Bye.